lunging stuff, right? This is the hard part about behavior, okay? Is technically the dog needs to be corrected as they're performing the behavior, okay? And then there's like preventative stuff too. And then like if I see someone's entering and she starts to go into this kind of state, right? I can already see the thought process that boom, right there, I want to acknowledge it with the remote as opposed to letting it explode to the full-blown, lunging growling thing, right? So, but that brings potential risk because now if we allow them to do that, maybe she decides to escalate it, or if the person backs off, she may escalate it, right? Muzzle. So like I get a lot of dogs when a person comes in, they get very territorial, very reactive. And then with nervous dogs, typically they'll calm down, then the person sits down, everything's fine, then the person gets up and moves. Next thing you know, the dog's lunging at their feet, nipping at their heels, blah, 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 right? And I've had quite a few clients, I'll show them an exercise, they make a lot of progress, the dog's doing great with people coming in and not being reactive or stopping the reactivity. And the dog's unmuzzled and then they're like, oh, this is so much better, that they fall into like complacency and they think everything's fine until somebody moves. And then the dog goes, right? So I would highly suggest we just start muzzling. Anytime the nanny's gonna be over, or like she's gonna be downstairs in the kennel, right? Because it's that entry thing, right? It's the entry thing. So this coming week, you can start kind of jumping ahead a little bit because with the muzzle, it allows us to push things without risk, so to say, okay? So you got the muzzle on, let's say she does become reactive, she becomes territorial, she's charging. Our first instinct is typically, let's grab and control the dog, right? You're either gonna get bit through redirect, or you're gonna make the problem worse because now you're gonna restrain your dog, which then makes her feel more threatened, okay? I jumped to the remote. So as soon as I stepped in and you noted the growl, I was like tap, 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 tap. And then, you've never had to do this before. So I grab the remote, I start remoting, I start escalating until I put her into a more passive state. And then, okay, cool, here we go, right? So as you're going along, you're gonna be learning things and you're also gonna be making mistakes, okay? Muzzle, of course, just puts everybody at ease. You don't have to worry about what happens if she gets to them. She can try to, as long as a finger doesn't manage to get through the muzzle, because that would be impossible, we should be fine. Okay? Question so far. So I'm going to go to take leash here. Okay. And what we're going to work on is the healing exercise. Okay? This is to help get her to be a bit more passive. Now with all this stuff, the theory is it's not the obedience, it's the discipline behind the obedience that settles her. Okay? If we keep seeing behavior issues, then clearly it's like, okay, like they go in conjunction with each other. They won't just switch and go, okay, forget that stuff, now we're just gonna do this. It's, you're still doing this obedience and the discipline, but now we have to target things more directly, okay? So I always like to try indirect first. What happens when the dog gets the idea or the feel for discipline? And then if we find, hey, the activity stopped, lunging and barking stopped, and all that stuff, then I go, okay, cool. The discipline, it's doing its job. If it's, no, the dog's still exhibiting the behavior, then I go, okay, now the behavior's either been practiced for too long, it's too ingrained in the dog, the nervousness or the territorial instinct is a bit too much, that it's overriding everything else, that we have to provide consequence for the behavior itself, okay? Which is typically people's first approach. They go, let's put the dog under stress, let them be a jerk, and punish them, right? But with no foundation, you're gonna make more problems, okay? So we're at 36, so I'm gonna start teaching her to walk on a leash, aka follow me, okay? I teach dogs on the left side. Is that okay?
Where do I walk from? I walk around my right.
I walk around the right.
I'm looking at it.
We always keep her between us, otherwise
Yeah.
it's sniffing. So that's why we one of us always at the left and then the right.
So you want her on the right?
Yeah, whatever works. I mean, she'll be fine.
We can adapt.
Okay, so we'll do left, but what we'll have you do actually here is just switch her over to her flat call.
Okay. So the reason I'm referring to this, and you're going to do differently, this, that. This is the only way we can walk.
Sure, okay. All right, So I'm gonna dip this down, we're gonna go to 25. I want you to watch for when I'm tapping, why I'm tapping, and what I'm trying to teach her, okay? 25, tap, 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 tap. 30, tap, 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 tap. 35, tap, 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 tap. 40, tap, tap, yeah, I know, she's been so conditioned, yeah. Okay, 45, tap, 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 tap. 50, tap, 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 tap. 55, tap, tap, tap. 60, tap, 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 tap. 65, and it's on because I can see it blinking. 70, and plus we just used it, right? There you go, boom. Tap, good. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap. Tap, 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 tap. 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 Tap, tap. Tap. Tap, tap. Tap. Good. 50. Tap, tap. 60. Tap, tap. Tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Good. Tap. Tap, tap. Tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap. Good. 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 So you see how she was directed this way? Or that way? I tapped, boom. Yeah, she brought her head in, okay? Tap, 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 tap. Tap. Good. Tap, tap. 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 Good. Tap, tap. Good. Tap. Tap, tap, tap. Good. Better. Tap, tap, tap. Tap. Tap, tap. Good. Tap, tap, tap. 6-5. Tap, tap, tap. Tap. Good. 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 Tap, tap, tap. Good. Tap. Tap, tap. Good. Good. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Good. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Good. Good girl. Tap, 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 tap. 70. Tap, tap, tap. Good. 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 Tap. Good. Tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap. Good. Good. Yep. Good. Good. Yep. Good. Yep, yep. Good. Yep, girl. Yep. Good. Good. Yeah. Good. Are you noticing something?
She's looking, she has less and less taps.
It is, right?
She stopped walking ahead of you.
Yep. What else?
She's not as distracted by the dog's foot.
Good guesses. She's having a hard time turning away when I'm facing this way.
Yeah.
Right?
She, every time she goes that way, she's like trying to get her muscle off too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So here when I turn, like here, we do this, like this, tap, tap, that's a pass. 1 second. So let me line up. Good. Here, right?
Right.
Tap, tap, tap. Good. Tap. But coming this way,
Yeah.
it's easier.
Yeah, much
Right? Do you know why?
Why?
Us?
Yeah. Right? So when she's facing this way, she's stuck in like la la land, kind of, right? Like, oh, I want to go back to my home. And then when I'm turning into you guys, she's like, sure, I'll turn that way. Because she's really fixated. It's nothing bad. But it's just to point these things out because it tells me where the dog is.
I do want to mention to you that we have this week's like training. She's becoming more like Velcro. I did want to bring that up to you too. Like,
Sure, yeah.
Like she has to touch me like at all times now. It's never like that.
Okay.
Just
Sure. Let's keep an eye on it because Velcro dog can have a positive and negative
Right.
kind of connotation to it.
Right.
So we'll see how all that stuff works out.
okay.
Are we seeing the difference now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm at 45 now. For the most part, I was at 70. You saw me, of course, escalate, just like we did with the plates. How was I getting her to follow my lead?
Right, tackle whatever she wasn't paying attention to or changing direction over there.
Okay. So when was I changing directions?
When she was behaving. When she reversed behavior.
No, that's when she wasn't behaving technically, right? When I was changing directions.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what was she doing that triggered me to change the direction?
Walking ahead or...
Yeah, she was passing me. Okay, so this is super important. So when people try to teach the heel with an aversive, they tend to, whether it's prong or remote collar or whatever tool they're using, is they'll say no to the pulling. And they'll yank the dog back, they'll pull the prong collar, but they'll hit the button. The dog comes back. And they go like, what was that for? Right? Because you're going in the same direction. And it becomes a constant back and forth of having to bring the dog back, right? It's the worst way to train heel. What I do is, I don't like to argue, okay? I go, okay, you want to go that way? Sure, but I'm going to go this way, and I have this thing, again, that's going to annoy you and get your attention, so when she's passing me and this goes off, she's like, oh, Jesse's going that way. She catches up, she lines up here, it stops, okay? But she passes again, I turn, remote, she turns around, oh, now Jesse's going the other way, right? So I'm teaching her, again, this is a communicator, and I'm telling her, don't go that way, you want to go this way. So when she's in this pocket here, nothing's happening, okay? And that's how, like, I don't know if you saw me, like, moving really, walking really slow, and she was there beside me and stuff like that. And as I got closer to you, she'd want to go, I would turn remote, and I'm using you essentially as leverage, right? Where I'm going, okay, sure, but I have the leash and the control, so I know you want to go there, but I'm not going to allow you to because you're under my command at the moment, okay? So ideally it'd be, she's here, I'm walking towards you, around you, and all that stuff, and she's like, okay, I'm with Jessie right now, forget about mom and dad at the moment, okay? Questions so far? Nope? Okay, cool. So I'm going to do a little bit more, and then I'm going to work with you guys, okay? So we're at 45 now. Yep. Good.
So now in these moments that she's walking right next to you, you're not tapping it at all.
Go.
Okay.
So only when you hear me say tap,
Okay.
and with my hand up. Yep.
You're either trailing behind or walking ahead, right?
Sorry?
You're either trailing behind or walking ahead usually when you're tapping.
Correct. Yeah. How's that? The visual for heel, because heel, tap. The heel looks very specific, okay? I see you, Piper. Her right shoulder should be parallel to my left leg. That's the visual of heel, okay? So if I start moving, tap. See that? Okay? Now, her, tap, tap.
Now, is it her body or her head? Because her body's parallel, but her head is turned.
Oh, you're talking about like how she should be aligned?
Yeah.
So if we're talking family pet, I really just care about the shoulder.
Okay.
Okay? So here, if she's like, some dogs will angle up like this, and obedience-wise, like competition ring-wise, it's a no-no. But are you planning on taking her to okay? Then I don't force it. Right? So I care about function and family pet. If someone told me, can I fix that, I would absolutely show them, right?
Yeah.
So the basic foundation is just this, okay? So if she were to be like this is okay. This is okay. That's not okay. Even though it's just an inch, okay? Because I've seen this many a time where the dog learns how to just take that inch and still be forging here. But forging here. But the owner sees it as, oh, this is pretty good. Because people tend to evaluate the heel according to how much the dog is pulling. And as long as the dog is not pulling, people are happy. But heel isn't just walk with me, don't pull me. Heel is a very specific looking command. Okay? So she is literally on my hip when I cue that word. So I want control, complete control. And when I say break, it's okay, freedom. The reason why we want that tight control is that's what helps the nervousness. Okay? That's what helps her keep it suppressed. So if something happens and she triggers, nope, I have to stay here because of this. That's what we're trying to get in her brain there. Okay? So I'll do a little bit more. 45. Tap. Tap, tap, tap. 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 Good. Tap. Yep. Good. Straight. Scoop. 35. Good. Tap. Good. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Tap, 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 tap. Straight 40. Good. Good. Tap, tap. Tap. Good. So there should never really be any tension, tap, tap, in the leash, ever. I don't care what the context is. I don't care if you're walking my dogs. I don't care if it's like a parade of dogs walking by. It should always be like this, this. Okay, and you see how she's now more angled up this way? I'm now starting to get in her brain. So she's going, hey, every time I leave Jesse, this thing goes off. So I should probably start paying more attention on what he's doing. Okay, that's why I don't do warnings. Okay, everybody wants to do warnings. The more I use this now, the less I use it over the course of time. Okay, so she's just thinking, I need to be spot on with that leg, otherwise there's no other way to avoid this. Okay, questions so far? All right, who wants to go first?
Well, real quick. So when we're walking her like outside, and like it's a turning around and such, we're just tapping until she catches up or pulls back.
If she's ahead of you, you will always tap and follow her.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you have to redirect her. Don't go that way.
Right.
Go this way. If you do the tap to get her to come back, that's the first thing. Remember, I was like, it's the worst way to train.
Right.
Because she doesn't know what to attach to. She just looks at you and goes, "We're going the same direction. Catch up." Right? Because she's got 4 legs. Her cadence for walking is much faster than ours. So when we have mental control, it doesn't matter how fast or how small I'm moving. If I have the brain, tap, tap, she should be right there with me. No matter how slow. Like I can be super slow. Tap. She should be right there. And if I speed up, tap, tap. okay? This is how much attention I have just in that little exercise. I found a number that was telling her, like, you want to pay attention, right? And then the way I was moving. Now, let's say, because obviously we're in an empty facility here. If we're out in real life and there's a crowd of people behind you, you can use the tap to slow her down because you don't have the capacity to turn. Right? Me, personally, I'll do that, step aside, let those people pass, and then start walking again, so I have the ability to do that turn, okay? Yeah. Otherwise, it's gonna be a constant. Now, if she's dragging, now she's back here, I speed up and tap, because now what you're trying to create is her closing a gap. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Other questions? So we're at 40 here. Tap, 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 1 second. Tap, 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 tap. There we go. So she's at my side in the seated position. She goes, Dad, right? It doesn't matter who's approaching you.
Yeah.
She loves you or not. She keeps this position, right? It's nothing bad that she did, technically. But for her, if she can choose to become reactive or choose to confront somebody anyway, and she can choose to just leave my side to greet anybody. One thing's small, one thing's really big, but they're both impulsive decisions. They're both impulsive decisions. That's what I don't want. Okay? Here. Good. Okay. So, right now, what I have to do is I'm going to show you a couple things. So one thing is the trainer hold. Okay? Take the leash. Cool. That locks your leash. Okay? This can happen. Or if we do this, I've also had people break fingers. Okay? So this here, even if, like, for whatever reason she just took off, unless she pulls the leash through your thumb, and if she pulls the leash through your thumb, you got a bigger problem, right? So, like this, and then, like, let's say, like you might have this and this in your right hand, since she's on her left hand. So what I'll do with the left hand is you want to give her slack because you want to give her the ability to make the mistake and leave your side. In order for her to learn what not to do, she technically has to try it, right? Is you can also lock the leash by taking it like so, grabbing around your pointer finger here, like this. Same concept, right? So then you can have a double lock. If you want to be like this is fine. Sure. But we want to start refraining from stuff like this. Because the other thing is, if she pulls the leash, you're going to get rope burn like that, right? And I had that as well. Yeah. So that's why I always lock my leash when I work with dogs. Okay. So then here, let's go. I'm going to have you take up about, right there. Okay. Just want to lock that. Good. And you can keep it in this hand if you like. There we go. And then relax. Okay. So now, okay. So what we're doing here is if you're completely relaxed, look at your leash. We should have slack, right? So most people tend to take up slack, right? If I have a nice empty sidewalk, I want to see where's the dog at mentally. So I'll leave the slack, because if she's right here next to me as we're moving, I know she's paying attention, right? But if we just take up that slack, you're not giving her the opportunity, right? So that's more so as physically restraining as opposed to mentally restraining, okay? So here, with that slack, if she passes you, you will always about right turn like this, okay? Cool. So if you're on the sidewalk, you should be able to stay within the sidewalk, okay? Miguel, he's the palm speed. He'll go all things. So, so always 180 turn. Okay, the reason for that is if she passes and you turn this way, it'll bring her back this way, okay, to this side. If she passes and you go inwards, it's going to bring her onto your right side, which is the incorrect side. Okay, so you'll look like a crazy person from time to time, but it's okay. Okay, so what I have you do here is instead of moving forward, I'm going to have you just pivot off and start walking this way. Yeah, yeah. Yep. If she goes behind you, go ahead and go like this, pulling out to your left, tap, tap. Okay, good, that's okay. And what I'm gonna have you do here is relax, and then sidestep, sidestep, there you go, good. And now turn, back. So, she's going between your legs seeking comfort. Part of it's because of the muzzle. Pull your left tap, good. Yep, and turn. Tap, good, relax, good. And stop. Boom. Okay, so that tap, she overshot it.
Yeah. Right away.
Boom, right? So what we've conditioned her is tap means left leg. Okay, so this is how I train dogs to be off-leash reliable. Is it's constant. Tap means here, here, here. Because then if they get off-leash, and if tap means go away, that's a really big problem. I want the dog to come to my left side. Okay? So when she starts to go between your legs, ideally you keep your movement like you did there, because dogs can only one thing at a time. Right? So if she does go between my legs, I'm tapping and pulling to the left, and you want the remote to be what makes her move out. Okay? Because she's like, again, she's trying to, exactly. The leash is just directing her on what to do. The remote is making her make the decision to follow that pressure. Okay? So then when she tries to go between your legs and you're remoting, you're teaching her that's not an option. Your only option is boom, here. Same thing if she goes to your right side. You would keep moving, tap, 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 boom. As soon as she shifts, you relax, we keep that movement. Okay? So I'm gonna have you just, yeah, you can make a bigger square too if you want a little bit more space like this. Now one thing I would say is when you're moving is to slow down before you're gonna make a change. And then you can always pick back up here. Then slow down, and then start to move. There's more nuances to this, but the foundation is really just slow down to give her the opportunity to see what you're doing. So she sees that shift in speed, and she's like, what's the next thing? And it's easier for her to catch that turn if you're moving slower than if you're moving at a normal pace. Okay? Yeah. Go ahead. Yep. Good. Yep. Good job. Yep. 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 Good. Yep. Good. Good. Now, if you were to not be wearing this muzzle, you're not going to have that problem, by the way.
Right, because that, yeah.
Good. And good test here. Good. Okay. So, heel is a package. Walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop. Okay? We don't say sit. If you say sit, it's no longer a heel, it's a sit now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you're to start moving, her inclination would be to not move because she's thinking sit if you're thinking more advanced stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? So here, it's just conditioning. Last week, that meant to go there. This week, this means to come here. And if I'm not moving, it means to put your butt down. Okay? And if she's being a naughty girl, it means cut the crap. Okay? This is all making sense? Right? So I'm gonna have you do a bit more. And what if you would also just like go into like a light jog, and then drastically slow down. If she passes, you just immediately about turn, tap, and bring her back to your side. Okay? Yep, good. Relax your arm. Yep. Yep, good. Slow. And stop. Look at that. Your dog was pronounced. Okay. So you have
I don't have a
attention.
device.
It's all magic. When you have attention, that's what that looks like. Okay? It doesn't matter the environment.
Never walked out like that.
So if you're out in the real world, all this means is your number may be higher, right? Because you have more to contend with. So I go to Oz Park. Oh, so much to sniff, right? 25, 30, 35, right? Keep going up. 70, boop, ha. That's where I roll now. right? I always get the attention, and you can tell because as soon as you hit that right number, the dog goes, where are you? Right? Because now she has a reference point, and then you start your walk. If that walk around Oz Park is unpleasant, it's because you're letting it be unpleasant. You're not going high enough. So if 70's not cutting it, 75, 80. So I was at 70 earlier. Was she upping? No. It was just that at the moment, that's what she needed. And as soon as I got her brain to check, now we're at 40. We're going down 30 levels, right? Because here, even though it's a blank space, it's new to her. So it just took more power to get her to think, okay, I need to pay mind to you. And once I cut through all that, lower and lower, because I could see by her reactions that it was becoming too much. And then I just adjust.
Now, does it ever get to the point where you don't even, like they just become second nature
No.
to them?
It's when you need it, right? When you're if you're outside in the real world, you got squirrels, you got rabbits, you got rats, right? You got kids running. So let's say here it's you have it, but you're not constantly doing this. You might go for a 5-mile walk and touch that thing once. You know, I think the perception is that, so dogs aren't, you educate them and then they just become good citizens, right? They're not like humans. A human is capable of that, right? You can teach a child, respect your elders, and the first time that child meets an older person, you can just naturally give it because they understand the concept. Dogs don't. Dogs, you have to earn respect as young as 2 months. And we actually have a puppy right now who is giving the parents hell, but is fine here. Because we've been correcting the puppy since the moment she met us, right? So now the puppy shrieks, force poops, pisses in the kennel and all that stuff. But we don't see that here. You know? Personality tag. And it's people like, but it's just a puppy. I'm like, as young as 3 to 4 weeks, they're already establishing hierarchy and all that stuff within their litter. You know, so when we get them, they're thinking, oh, you're a cute puppy. Like, you don't know right from wrong. They don't. But they know what they can and can't do, and it's all determined by you guys. Okay? So, look at the e-collar as your cop. Remember the cop on the collar.
Yeah.
So when she knows she has it, she has to behave herself. It's nothing good or bad. We have cops, and we have laws and prisons and judges to keep people in line, right? That are always in effect. Think of it that way, okay? It's just like when I have a dog earlier, she's on fluoxetine. She's doing great. The owner's like, how do you feel about me removing off the fluoxetine? I was like, I would have removed all the fluoxetine a long time ago because it didn't do anything, you know? And she's like, okay, cool. Like, I just want to, get your opinion on it. And if I thought it was doing anything, I would be like, yeah, for sure. Like, I don't have a problem with it. Some people need medication. Some people don't. Right? Some people need a wheelchair. Some people don't, right? Look at this as just something that gives you more control because you're just your standard dog owner. Like, do I need this tool with her? No. But I've been doing this 10 years. Does Cesar Milan need this tool with her? Probably not. But he's been doing it 20 to 30 years, you know? His dogs just do it. Yeah, he's got dogs that work for him. Okay? Questions about this? No. I'm gonna give it a shot. There you go. That's okay. Good. Swap. Yep. Good. That's okay. As long as she's keeping that button. There we go. Correct.
Okay.
We'll after 1 or 2.
So then what you want to be careful of, right? Yep. So you're going to do that. And your slack, you're going to take and put this out. That locks your leash. Okay, so bunch is getting a grip. So if I tug on it, see how it's not slipping?
Yeah.
Now relax. There you go. Now go and step to her right side. There we go. Okay?
Why not?
Relax. You're already doing this. Okay? So here we want to be, I don't know if you guys saw that right there. As soon as she stepped aside, she started to do this with the left hand. That's already bringing attention. Boom. Right? Think of your leash as a communicator. So if I'm walking, I'm relaxed, and the leash is slack. That tells me we're walking in unison. Right? If I start to feel tension going like this, what does that tell me? What's she doing? Yeah, she's doing something else, right? Because I'm like, if I'm relaxed, there's no reason my arm should be tugging to the left, unless she's slipping, pulling at something, peeing on something, lunging at something, right? So if you're both relaxed and she's paying attention to you, there should not, it should feel like you're not even walking her, like it's just there, okay? So now, again, when you're walking me up, If she passes you, even if it's a smidget, you want to about right turn, tap, okay? It's turn and tap simultaneously until she's back on your left leg, and then you can relax and stop the tapping, okay? Pressure on when we need her to do something, pressure off when she does it. Go for it. Yep, good. Good, nothing here, just turn with you. Good. 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 Pull your left back, good. And relax. Good. Good. Stop. Good. Right? That's how it should be. You're not having to guide her on that stop. Right away, she. Okay. Good.
When we're walking and she does that, she kind of put her head in front of you. I know it's like because she's just thinking, I'm here. I'm thinking she's learning right now. Is that
It's because we keep making right turns.
okay?
So she's anticipating when the turn's going to happen.
Gotcha.
Okay? It might be for rider. Hurry up. Yep. Yeah, you want to make sure she completes that stop, right? So when you come to a stop, there's actually more to the sit or the auto sit. It's typically I pull up, press down remote, and the dog gives it to me. In this case, she just gave it to us.
Right.
So I'm just taking advantage of it and going, okay, if you gave it to me that easy, I'm going to ask for it each time.
Like she pulled back out of habit.
Yep,
Avoid that.
completely.
Right.
Okay? Let your remote do all the communicating. The more you use your leash, the more it becomes a part of that communication process, right? So, a lot of people do this, for example. They're walking, and when they turn their dog, they're already like this.
Yeah.
And then they turn them, and then they walk, right? And I go, stop that. Because when your dog is off leash, you're no longer going to have this, and your dog's not going to know what to do. Because you've always used the leash to guide them, as opposed to the remote, right? So the other thing is, most people's first instinct is when shit goes south, grab the dog, physically restrain the dog, do something about the dog, right? But if you're so used to jumping to your remote, like when I walked in, first thing I was like tap, 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 right? First thing is I jumped to the remote, and then I grabbed it and I adjusted it, right? Because I'm so conditioned on this is going to get me to stop a behavior or get the dog to comply, right? So that if something happens, you're setting yourself to always jump to the remote as a means of handling the situation. I had a client not too long ago, their dog or their two dogs got in a fight, and they had their collars on. And she tried to break them up, she got bit in the process. And the first thing I asked her was, why didn't you use your remote? Jesse, I panicked. I wasn't thinking in the moment. I'm like, it's okay, everybody does it, but now you have a lesson. Try to stop a dog fight, you're gonna get bit. The remotes. Like, they're already fighting each other. You know, like, don't add a third casualty. Use your remote to get them to disengage, right? Same thing here. You know, she's charging someone, pop, pop, pop. No, you don't. Okay? And we're gonna put precautions to things so that you have to build your confidence. For me, this is a standard case. I see the stuff. I have 4 dogs like this right now on my calendar. Okay? And 3 of them are like night and day, the other one just started. Okay? So the stuff that you're telling me isn't out the ordinary. Okay? So when you see me worry, then you worry.
Okay.
Okay? When you tell me something and I go, we're concerned, then you get concerned. Okay? The whole 2 things that happened this week, I go, okay. Because if she really wanted to do harm, she would have done it. Okay? It's just if she charges the wrong person, boom, because they gave in.
Yeah.
There's actually, do you guys know Tom Davis? He's a really popular YouTube trainer right now. He does e-collar and stuff. And I'm watching a video where a dog goes after him. And I brought it to my handlers. I'm like, what was wrong here? And the first thing they both pointed out was he kept moving away from the dog. And I go, yep. Because now the dog's in pursuit and he's going, don't bite me.
Right.
Don't bite me. And it's just drawing the dog out more. I understand. First thing I always do is away, you know, create distance, but I'm not going to move unless I really have to because I know it's going to keep the situation going.
Right.
Right? So the way we respond to her can either empower her or disempower her. Okay?
Question, with this method, like getting her out of the house, let's talk about that, like getting her out the door. Because it's not exactly, well, you'll see when you come over, there's 2 doors, like to get out, so it's like not an easy, like just straight through, like there's like stop,
Sure.
pull, stop, pull.
Sure.
And she, I mean, so are we gonna just tap, 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 and she'll just go by her side, like
She's
how
gonna
are
learn
we?
real quick.
What?
She's gonna learn real
But
quick.
no, I'm asking, like, are we tap, 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 tapping until she's by our side and we go through the door, or do we want to
So-
go through first? I've always been taught we go through first.
That doesn't matter.
Okay, well, that's what we always done, yeah.
So like stuff like don't let your dog be on the couch, don't like you have to go through first, you have to eat before your dog.
Yeah.
You're stupid.
Okay.
Okay? I've had plenty of people do that stuff and their dog was the last ones. Okay? And then we put remote on and put some discipline on the dog, all of a sudden they're angels. Because no one spoke their language.
Right.
Okay? So if I open a door, she shouldn't be charging.
Right.
Okay? That's for sure. Right? So if I open a door and she does start to forge, tap, 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 boom. Then I start to move, right? Now this is an exception, because earlier I said don't ever tap your dog back like this, right? But that's because you're moving. Here, you open the door, she took the initiative. I didn't move, right? So I'm going, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Yeah, here we are. Now we move. And now that I've addressed that, when you go through the threshold, it should be, okay? So there, you're technically allowing her to forge, right? You open, expecting or anticipating, boom. And you go, nope, you don't want to do that. And we keep repeating that. So then over the course of a couple of days, open the door, she's not moving, she's staying in this position,
She
okay?
does that too when people leave the house. Like, she goes like,
We got to address that too.
Yeah, she wants to come with us.
yeah, like when she leaves, it's more like a
She freaks
separation
out,
anxiety
maybe.
almost.
Sure, we want to address that.
Yeah.
When anybody else leaves, she's always running like we're coming.
Yes, address that. And you can start that now,
Okay.
okay? Because that's the impulsive behavior, okay? And that, like, where you going can be like, who are you,
Yeah.
right?
So, yeah.
It's the same thing, and what we're trying to condition here. So dogs don't self-regulate. You have to teach them to self-regulate. The way we do that is, the moment her brain goes into where are you going, pop, pop, pop. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Just go into the bathroom.
Right.
Just getting a drink of water. Just going out to fill the garbage, right? So it becomes, you're moving. Like my dogs, if I get up and start walking, they might pick up their heads like, where are you going? Kitchen? Okay, they lay back down again, right? Now if I go to grab their leashes, it's a bit different
Right.
because they understand it ties to them,
Right.
right? So it's really just that impulsiveness that you're trying to stop, to teach you to self-regulate. The reason why you can start that now is because aversives are meant to stop things, right? Here we're using an aversive to teach things, which requires us to turn and use leash pressure to direct her as the remote is motivating her to do something. When it comes to don't worry about where I'm going, it's literally you get up, you start walking. The moment you acknowledge her taking interest, boom, don't worry about it. You see that? And if she's got her muzzle on, and muzzle with leash, because if things go south, I want to have something to grab in the beginning. It's the same process, right? And you can even be holding her at the end of the leash, and if somebody walks in and she starts lunging and barking, there's more to it, but in the meantime, if you want to start tackling things, you're just remoting. Have the person just wait there, right? You're remoting, you're like I did in here, finding that number, getting her to calm down, and as she steps back, boom. And that's the main thing I want to see, is when I see a dog becoming confrontational, it's forward-like, right? Who are you coming into my home? So when you remote her, what you want to see is disengagement, which is typically backwards. So in the room, she was standing up, that's more forward-like, and when I remoted her, I put her into a passive, sitting back position, opposite of what she was doing. Okay?
Yeah.
Other questions? So your homework for this week, this exercise. When you walk her now, this is how you walk her, okay? So my suggestion is you come out, you give her a potty break first. Once you've decided she's done, you just start walking, tap, tap, boom. And at that moment, you start your turnaround process if she passes you. If she's on your hip and you walk for blocks, good, right? You don't turn for no reason. You turn because she's either passing you up, or you need to turn because you just need to turn and run the block or something, right? We want to make sure we slow down before we do these turns. Up. And then, if you decide to give her another break, you would walk, she's here, present her to the grass, stop, she puts her butt down, wait, break, and then you present her. Okay, break's my release command. Now she's off the clock. She can pee, poop, roll on the ground, sniff the ground, have a cigarette, I don't care. That's her own time. Okay? And then once you're ready, you start moving it, boom, 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 tap. Here she is. Now we've initiated the walk. So we're not saying heel yet. Okay? Because I know people, and every time I try to introduce the word heel, I come back and they're like, heel, 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 and the dog's still yanking them all over the place. Because they want to use the word as opposed to the problem.
She's going to have a real test. You walk with her to school every day.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like, there's one little black dog that every time she eyeballs, and then the kid, sometimes the guy will come like at the cross street and she'll bark once or twice.
Okay.
Kind of perfect.
So I would set up a little bit of extra time, right? Because if she knows the route, she knows the pattern, she's going to be more engaged with foraging. But it all comes down to the number. Okay, as long as you find that right number and you can get there quickly, it should be a pretty simple walk. If you're on your way back, a lot of dogs on the return home will forage a lot.
She's actually well behaved on the way back.
Yeah, but that's before remote.
Yeah,
Yeah, because with this, now it was like, hey, I do whatever I want and I walk, is now like, you're here.
Yeah.
That she's like, I'm tired of this game, I want to go home, right?
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon, maybe she does it.
Right.
If that happens, and that's good, because that's less work for you.
Right.
But I would anticipate on the return home, she's going to want to forage because she wants the pressure.
Yeah.
Okay? If that happens, she's foraging, you correct it like you would anything else. Now, if you're tight on time, and you're like, man, I got like 5 more blocks to go, and I don't have time to do this turnaround game, come no stop, wait, issue the word break, and let her just do whatever. Now you're creating a very clear line of, when you feel this tap, it's here. When I tell you break, it's whatever, right? And it won't go against your obedience. Okay, what will go against your obedience is if you have her in heel, and then she keeps foraging, and you just give up and let go.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's after you initiate it. So you have to stop it, say, okay, you're off the clock, and then what happens after that doesn't matter, other than her behavior, like lunging, barking, things like that. Okay? Anything else?
It's going to be a fun turnaround game with the kid on a bike.
I have the kid on the bike in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
She only likes to use the bathroom in our backyard. Period.
That's another
Okay.
thing. We'll have to learn it, but like it's weird. She won't go to the bathroom and walk. I'll take her for a
She'll-
professional walk.
She'll poop in the middle of the street, like
walking.
During the
She can't
walk.
hold it
last
anymore.
resort.
Sure. It's like if I don't poop anywhere, I'm gonna poop in the yard in the middle of the street.
Well, when she's walking, like she'll poop when she's walking because she won't stop. It's weird. That's the backyard.
Sure. Yeah, as she gets more comfortable, that may fix itself. Otherwise, the problems are fixed. Otherwise,
Shit
it makes it
breaker.
work.
Yeah.
So when you email Maria, just tell her you spoke to me and that due to some stuff during the week, we're gonna go and just jump into an in-home session
Okay.
next class.
Okay.
Okay. Have her muzzled, have her leashed up. You can have her collared up as well. Okay. So when I come in, if you've tried your own stuff, you can just apply it. If you need help, of course, I'm going to be there to coach you through it. And then I'm going to show you an exercise for when people enter the home, how to address it. Okay? Anything else? Awesome. Good to see everybody again. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you guys need anything else, you let us know. Absolutely. And you can cut to the middle here.